and mistakes. So let's start. Learning from mistakes sounds like a groundbreaking theory in social science. I mean, we've been learning from mistakes all our lives. There's nothing new here, so why all the buzz? And why learning from mistakes in particular? Are mistakes the primary or most valuable source of learning? The answer is no. We learn from all experiences, right or wrong, correct or incorrect, successful or unsuccessful. Let's look at the word mistake. According to the Merriam-Webber dictionary, a mistake means 1, a wrong judgment or misunderstanding, 2, a wrong action or statement stemming from faulty judgment, inadequate knowledge, or inattention. Wrong judgment, wrong action, faulty. Why the negative connotation, emphasis? Are you also recognizing this negative semantic field? Why are we focusing on mistakes and failures? Why not on all experiences? Human experience is so much broader and so much richer. It looks to me that we created a problem and we are trying to fix it by making it seem more positive. Learning from mistakes, learning from failures. Of course, learning is positive. Everyone is excited about learning. Who's not? Given the talk today, if you are sitting there and wondering if you are someone who's learning from their mistakes, the answer is yes. You've done this your entire life. Learning from failures and mistakes is actually an innate human ability. It's something that God endowed us with as human beings. It's actually also shared by non-human living organisms as well, and I'll share a few examples in a bit. If you are sitting there and trying to think of mistakes you've made and the learning, if any, that came out from these experiences, I'm afraid that might not be the right approach. The reason is because sometimes it's hard to tell if a decision was a mistake, even years after. But for the sake of the talk today, I'll continue to focus on learning from mistakes, and I'll purposefully use the word mistake or failures. So as I mentioned, learning from mistakes, from failures, is an innate human ability, and I'll give a few examples. Let's look at language acquisition and babies. During their first few months, babies mumble stuff in imitation of human language. And as they do this, they make mistakes, right? But babies continue to try it with human speech, decoding, analyzing, testing, and refining until they are able to build their ability to understand and produce human language. Nobody goes to them and tells them, that's a mistake, that's a failure, you need to correct it. But it's innate, it's built in, it's inside of us. So in doing so, babies embrace learning from mistakes as part of the process. It's a cycle of trial and error. Another example, looking at human biology, for example, the immune system learns to recognize and neutralize harmful pathogens through trial and error. Mistakes in early responses of the immune system allow the system over time to refine its response through, again, that same process of trial and error, leading to a more effective, efficient, well-coordinated response. Third example, if you look at nature, for example, baby animals. Well, baby animals learn to hunt and become independent through the same process, the same cycle of trial and error. They embrace mistakes as well as part of the learning process. So as you can see, we've done this all of our lives. If you contemplate and look at the universe, there are a lot of living organisms that have embraced this process as well. For us humans, our brains are actually hardwired to learn from mistakes and failures. There is no need to continue to use this negative, jargon, failures, mistakes, especially given the talk today. We've seen and heard from key speakers how these negative notions can affect our reactions to learning. And I think, as you can probably guess by now, I am not a big fan of the phrase learning from failures, learning from mistakes. I think it should be learning from experiences. We need to embrace all experiences as learning opportunities. At this point, I think some of you are probably wondering, are you going to share a personal story? Yes, I've made mistakes. I failed several times, but I embraced all those experiences as learning opportunities. So I'll share a couple. One of them is back in college in 2006. I was presented with a wonderful opportunity to actually become a published author. Two professors from the School of Education approached me if I wanted to write a chapter on educational reform in North Africa. They were actually working on a book on international education. I took very little time, and I declined the opportunity because at the time I just thought in my 20s that it would be at the expense of my well-being, social life, emotional life in college. In retrospect, as I look at that event, well, sometimes I think it's a mistake. I should have taken the offer. But there are times, you know what, when I look back at it and I see it differently. Maybe it wasn't a mistake. Maybe it was the right decision. Maybe that's what I did was the right decision after all. Another mistake was again in college when I was advised by one of my best professors to take classes in econ and business in addition to my education major, was saying, you know, I actually didn't act on that advice, and I think that was clearly a mistake. I should have. I mean, especially the things I know today about those opportunities. So again, as you can see, sometimes it's difficult to tell if a decision was a mistake or not. And I think continuing to focus and use the word mistake or failures is limiting, not to mention the negative connotation as well that those terms evoke or bring about. I'd like to say, learn from experiences instead. Focus on all experiences. It's broader, it's more comprehensive. And again, the human experience is a lot richer than simply focusing on aspects of your experiences that might be perceived as mistakes or failures. Some final thoughts. Whether someone learns from their experiences, failures, mistakes, quote, is a question of individual effort, intentionality, meaning purpose, activating the learning intentionally, and third, access to constructive feedback. Also, do not assume that by making mistakes, you learn from those experiences. Consider, for example, a teacher or a school administrator with 15 years of experience, simply multiplied by 15. Same applies to other professionals, doctors, lawyers, engineers. So to learn, you have to activate learning. You have to think about it. You have to think about the process, and you have to be intentional about it. In conclusion, please embrace all your experiences as learning opportunities, be those successes or failures or mistakes, joys, sorrows, all experiences that you engage in are learning opportunities. And let's change our language to a more positive one, from failures and mistakes to actually learning from experiences instead. I think it's more positive, and a lot of people would be very comfortable confronting their failures, their mistakes head on, and not shying away from learning from those opportunities. Thank you very much.